the
Very good.
recorded going.
It's about time that we record.
It's about drive. It's about power. We stay hungry. We don't.
Oh, I forgot that
Mhm.
song existed.
That's a good one.
That's The Rock. That's Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That is Mr. Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
R.I.P.
Dwayne. Rip Dwayne. Wait.
He's not dead. I'm,
Oh,
you know,
that would have been news to me.
sometimes.
Like, oh man,
Oh
I like
man,
that guy.
I liked him.
Jumanji 2,
Jumanji 2.
out in theaters now.
Out in
Take the
theater.
kids.
R.I.P. He's not dead. Hey guys, this is One Hit No Wonder.
Wonder.
Wonder. We're a podcast hosted by yours truly. I'm Nolan, and that is Matt.
It's me, Mario.
It's Matthew Mario Rawlson. Yeah, we talk about one hit wonders, guys. Every week's new fun adventure. And this week we're talking about Ram Jam,
Ram
guys.
Jam. Thank you, ma'am.
About Ram Jam. It's gonna
Yeah,
be a weird one.
I tell
Yeah.
you this, until you mentioned it last week, I could not have told you who Ram Jam was. I know the
Oh,
song very
yeah.
well. Didn't know it was by a band called Ram Jam,
That's a
or the
fun
other
name.
6 names that they had
They had
under
six.
this lineup. No, not six, but they had a lot. We'll talk about it. We'll talk all about it. Yeah, we like
Yeah.
to talk about one hit wonders. We talk about all kinds of dumb stuff on the show. If you're still listening after all these years, good on you. Thank you. Uh,
Well done.
well done. Good for you. We are on all the socials, the ones that matter. We're on the TikToks and the YouTubes. All of the YouTubes, everyone. I've been posting videos as of
Oh
late
yeah.
there. Um, yeah, and we're on the
Uh
emails too.
oh, yeah.
The emails. I don't know if you've heard about this newfound
No.
technology.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so the way it works is
Mm.
if you have a mailbox out in front of your house or apartment or your condominium,
With the flag.
with the thing with the flag, yeah, that box sort of mechanism that's there, and
Yes.
the mailman comes and he shoves
And
your
he
letters in there every week, and yeah,
rams it up.
he rams it up there.
Ram Jam.
He ram jams it up there, and there's a virtual version of that. It can actually come to your computer. This
Oh.
mail, no paper involved.
Oh, I know what this is. I thought you had said he-mail. Like a
Um,
man that arrives at your door for sexual favors. Uh
why would that be called email?
you know, it's
Be
just where
called
my brain went.
be called
Uh,
He-Man.
He-Man's he-mail.
He-
It's the best new thing to try for all of you married couples out there. Give it a go.
Spoiler alert, that's not new. It's called prostitution. It's the oldest profession there is.
Oh, well, I was born yesterday. Anyway, we have the Gmail. So it's if you want to send us some hate mail or have a suggestion on a one hit wonder that you want to hear, give us a shout. It's one hit no wonder pod at gmail.com, while all the other social medias are one hit no wonder.
Yeah, one hit no wonder pod.
Mm,
POD.
POD.
Yeah.
Mm,
We
no.
you to the nation. Yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
put your hands together. Yeah.
Is
So
that a one hit wonder? Was have we
no,
talked about this
POD, I
before?
think POD is a little bit more successful than than that song. But you know what? That's funny. Now that I'm thinking about it, I cannot name another POD song.
I don't
Mm-mm.
know. I
Just
couldn't
the
tell you
youth
one.
of the nation.
Youth of the nation.
So yeah, recently we've been shaking it up. I think at some point we won't have to say we've been shaking it up, but we
Mm-mm.
still talk about one hit wonders. We used to do two. We're just talking about one these days. We talk about what we've been listening to because Matt and I just really like music in general. So we're going to talk about it. And now we have a creative topic that we talk about every single week. And this week is super exciting because on some level I play bass, but truly I think out of the two of us, you are considered a bassist. I consider you a bass player, Matt. But we're talking about best bass lines, which is exciting for me.
Yes.
It's gonna get
Yes.
juicy.
Yeah. Really, really big fan of bass lines, bass
Mm,
parts, bass songs over here. I've got a lot to say about it. Yeah, I do want to dive in. I actually brought like this so many examples, and it was very,
you
very
do.
hard for me. I thought about this a good amount today. Could not narrow it down to favorites or best, or I don't even know what we're like supposed to be putting this in. Is it best or favorites? Because there's a massive difference there.
I
It
don't.
doesn't matter.
I
Talk
think it's
about
just
bass
favorites.
lines.
We'll talk about
Yeah.
baselines. Yeah, good
Um,
stuff. Thick
I
boys,
do I do have one thing I want to bring to you.
please.
If you don't mind. So stumbling upon just as we kind of get into what we've been listening to this week, I have something other than this, but I I did get an album this week on my 1001 albums list, and I am still trying to process this album. And I went to my wife about it. I went to a few folks, just to kind of get their 2 cents as to like what, if you were in this position, how would you rate an album like this? So the album, long story short, I had never heard of it. It's a tribute album to Ornette Coleman, who's a very famous, well-known jazz musician from the 1940s to the 1960s. So this is a tribute album by a composer who you may or may not have heard of, named John Zorn. And John Zorn
No.
is a saxophonist, but also a music composer, who's very well known for operating outside of genre. Like that is kind of his whole thing. He refuses to box himself
Oh,
in anything he creates. So he does a
okay.
lot of like what you might think of as like free jazz or just wild experimentation in music. So this album is called Spy versus Spy, and it's a John Zorn tribute album to Ornette Coleman. And he's got on this album, the personnel that make up the album are John Zorn playing saxophone, another man named Tim Byrne playing saxophone, and then he's got two drummers and two bass players. This album came out in 1989, and I'm just gonna play the opening track for you, a little bit of the opening track to give you an idea, and then I'm gonna talk about
Okay.
it. If you're listening to this loud or like in a car, I can't promise that this is not going to blow your eardrums out. So fair warning, maybe you turn it down. I'll give you 3 seconds. Okay.
Whoa.
All right.
Yeah.
So that is about halfway into the first track. The album is 41 minutes long. Mm, That doesn't stop.
It's the
Um,
whole time.
the vast majority of the album, and I'll say this,
Yeah.
the front half of the album is kind of just this. The back half of the album, in some places, settles down a bit. It goes into some structure, some tempo, some rhythm, some beats, a little bit of melody,
Uh-huh.
but it's all of that is interspersed between this chaotic. Um, I don't even know what you would call this. Hardcore jazz, or like grindcore jazz.
I'd call it after Taco Bell jazz.
After Taco Bell jazz. Yeah, so like and I know like like I've sat with this album for like 3 or 4 days now. And I've gotten the chance to kind of like reflect on it, think on it. I've gone back and listened to it again
Uh-huh.
because my initial thought was like, okay, come on. Like you're gonna make me sit through 40 minutes of this. Like, why is this on the list? I don't understand how something like this could be. But that is a surface level reaction to it, I feel. And so my
Sure.
question is,
Yes.
at what point as an artist do you say, um, I don't care what anyone wants to hear. I'm doing this for me. And this is what this is my art. And like I guess it's the whole argument of like art for art's sake, right? Like we've all seen crazy performance art, we've all
Yes.
heard crazy music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like this, I know this isn't supposed to be appealing to a mass audience. This isn't supposed to draw in more than like your casual backyard barbecue
I think that's
playlist.
what people mean when they say, like, create art for the sake of art. Like, this is it simply sounds like this person has just done what they've just wanted to do.
Yeah.
No holds barred. This is what I wanna do. Fuck everyone else. Nothing matters.
Yeah. But like so I then it calls into question like, because as an artist, I feel that way sometimes too of like I'm, no good art is ever made for after doing it for somebody else. Um, all good art is made by the artist making it for themselves. They're doing it because it's what they want. And if other people like it, then great. And if
Mhm.
it's well received, then that's even better. But I guess I have a hard time believing that an artist would go out of his or her way to create something like this, knowing that it will not be well received. And just, I guess there's nothing to grab onto here, musically speaking. There's nothing to relate to, if that makes sense.
Right. It's just chaos.
It's just pure chaos. And I guess that can be appealing as a one time listen or for experimentation.
Well, in the tiny little bit of sound that we heard from it, I heard an immense amount of talent there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The
That's the thing.
timing that was being kept and
Yeah.
what was being played was very difficult.
Extremely competent. Yes.
Right.
Yes. I mean, just those like the opening drums alone are insane. I mean, that's some of the most wild drumming I've ever heard. But like, you can't just sit at a drum kit and play that. But it almost sounds like to the non-trained ear or whatever, to the casual listener, that's what they're gonna think. Oh, this is just garbage. Like this is
Yeah,
just
they would
I could
skip
do
it.
that. Yeah.
You, like,
But it's
have to be told what's
mhm.
happening here,
Yes.
backstory,
Yes.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes it even less accessible to me because the last thing I want to do is sit somebody down and be like, no, listen to this, and I'm going to tell you how competent these musicians are and like how
True.
like no one wants
I
to do that.
I don't think money was a conversation here. I don't think there were any external motivators other than I'm simply gonna do something that is raw, whatever he wanted to do, and not
Yeah.
care at all about what somebody else thinks. Your original question that you had asked right there was, I wonder how much it takes for somebody to be able to get to this point. And
Mhm.
I was thinking about it, and my initial reaction was this is probably about the 10th album they've released.
Hmm.
They probably began the thought around album number 3.
Yeah.
And slowly, I'm sure this you can't just get to this point and not think, "Oh, I could write a hook here. Oh, that would sound good." Can you
Mhm.
think of how many good ideas they must have had while writing this and were like, "No, that's too catchy," and having to throw away
Mhm.
a riff? I couldn't imagine that at all.
Yeah, that's true. But remember, this is a tribute album. Like these are all technically cover songs to Ornette
Also
Coleman.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah, so and he in his own way did not this chaotic, but like he did a lot of free jazz, like just extremely improvised on the
Sure.
spot stuff where the band either did or did not keep up with what he was doing on the saxophone, and he just was kind of off in his own world. A lot of jazz
Sure.
musicians do that. It's improv. It's always like I know it's like a cliche to be like, jazz is like you could play any note and it's right, but like, even the wrong notes are right. It's like, and that's sure,
I've
but
heard that
like
joke. Sure.
yeah. Um, but yeah, that just kind of adds another layer of complexity to it. It's like if he was alive to hear this, if Ornette Coleman had received this album, it what would his thoughts have been? Would he have enjoyed this? Would he have like felt like it respected his work, or would he dismiss it and consider it garbage? I don't know. Lots to consider there.
Hmm,
It's not
interesting.
the best jazz song in the world. This is the best jazz song in the world.
God damn it.
Potato chips, how my mouth just drip. Potato chips, how my mouth just drip. Crunch, crunch, I don't want no lunch. All I want is potato chips. Potato chips.
Love you can hear a
Oh,
smile.
man.
Don't you
It's
love that when you hear a song, you can hear the
yeah.
the singer smiling. He's like potato chips.
Potato chips. Yeah, it makes a comeback, folks. The potato chips song is back. So damn, that might be the one of the most interesting "this is what I've been listening to" moments on the podcast ever. I didn't expect that at all from you, especially because I have a sniper rifle on the Spotify playlist here, and I don't see anything describing what you
Yeah.
talked.
So this album was not on Spotify. It's
Yeah.
one of those ones that's just like so out there in left field. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody ever even bothered to try and get it on Spotify. I could
Wow.
only find this on YouTube, and it's like a ripped copy. So I
Wow.
guess check it out if you're interested. Like I said, it's 40 minutes kind of this. Like I wouldn't recommend this to anyone unless you're like really wanting to like
Trip on
dive deep into,
mushrooms.
yeah, or
Yeah.
you know, just have a wild adventure with music.
What a
But it's
wild
something
time.
that exists. It's out there. Yeah.
Damn.
What about you? What you been listening to?
I've not been listening to anything like that. It's gonna take a total 90-degree turn here. Uh, I've been listening to a band called Caskets.
Caskets.
Yeah, Caskets. I found that it was like one of those Spotify, here's what we think you'd like things. And I had heard of the band Caskets before from friends of mine. I just hadn't typed it in or looked for it. And this is the very first song I ever heard from them. Since then, I've listened to their most recent record and it's phenomenal. But the first song that I ever heard, I'll give you the same introduction that I got. This is called Lost in Echoes by Caskets.
I think I lost my mind. Everything I knew came falling down. Anything I built comes crashing down. I'm pleading God, not now. Save me from my sins before I leave. Free me from the weight so I can breathe. The more I fool myself, the more I feel it creeping in. I think I lost my mind again. Don't worry, I'll be lost in echoes.
Yeah. So nice. It's like, I don't know. I think the guy's vocals to me are like soothing.
Mm,
And also, I don't know if you caught like the underlying synth that's in the verses, but it's a very 80s, almost Stranger Things-ish
yeah.
sound. So I noticed that and I just thought it was good mixing.
It's a
So,
big sound. Yeah, I mean,
and it's hooky too. It's
yeah,
nice.
that's not an easy thing to do. As someone
Yeah.
who's tried to like produce big sounding music before, very
Yeah.
difficult to make something sound that grand.
Right. You feel
Uh,
like you're so limited in a box of the software. How do I make
Yeah,
it sound massive?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's Caskets.
Oh, fun.
Recommend them if you're looking for a nice, sweet new band.
A
But
nice time.
damn, we have kind of a. I picked this because I don't know. I feel like people in our position don't. They see a song like this and they're like, nope, not gonna touch it. So this is Ram Jam. The band is Ram Jam, which also like you, I had no idea there was a band called Ram Jam. But the song is Black Betty, and it started to the video for Ram Jam doing this. It's just surfaced on TikTok, and I've been seeing people's reaction to it. And for the most part, it's those reaction videos where it's black people listening to white people music and they're listening
Mhm.
for the first time, and it's I just see a group of guys and they're just listening to the song and they're like, oh, it's catchy, and then they hit to the verse, and then as soon as Black Betty hits, they're like, what'd he say? Like that, and then they listen to the rest of it and they're like, this is really catchy. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm excited to learn.
I did not know really anything about the song. I've heard it. I think, yeah, obviously I've heard it. Like everyone's
Mhm.
heard it. They played on every classic rock radio station that I ever listened to growing up.
Always.
Uh, I can't say I was ever a giant fan of it, but I never paid attention to the lyrics. And I saw them tonight for the first time ever. And
Oh, I haven't even read them.
I can understand a reaction like that.
Okay.
I do want to talk about the lyrics a little bit more in case you've forgotten the song or you don't know what we're talking about. I'll play a little bit of Black Betty by Ram Jam. Ram Jam's Black Betty. harsh cut there.
Yeah, out of nowhere, it's like they taped together.
Oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, whoa,
Another
Black
harsh
Betty,
cut.
Yeah.
bam-a-lam, she really gets me high. Bam-a-lam, you know that's no lie. Bam-a-lam, she's so rock steady. Bam-a-lam, and she's always ready. Bam-a-lam, whoa, Black Betty, bam-a-lam, whoa, Black Betty, bam-a-lam. Get it.
That's like there's so many hard cuts.
Okay.
I could have gone the whole time. Wow.
That's what she said. So, reading up on the history of this song,
Huh.
Ram Jam did not write this song. Well, they wrote, they composed this version of the song. But the earliest known recording of this song is actually from 1934.
Oh,
Yeah,
when
this is a
was
very
this
old song.
song released? When did this one come out?
So this one came out in 77. 77. It was on-
77.
yeah, it was on their self-titled album Ram Jam.
Wow, long
and-
time later.
Yeah, just to give you some stats, it currently sits at 404 million plays on Spotify. That's a
Wow.
lot. That's so
That's a
many more
lot
than
of
I would have
plays.
thought. That's more than
Really?
a lot of the songs we talk about, honestly.
It's I mean, it is a lot more.
Yeah, and especially compared to their next most popular song, "Keep Your Hands on the Wheel," which we'll listen to in a second. It's 2 million plays.
Too many
Um,
plays. Yeah, that's
but
a
yeah.
one-hit wonder right there.
Yeah. This is a very old song. Kind of interesting history about it. I guess the first known reference or terminology of Black Betty was a common term for a bottle of whiskey in the borderlands between northern England and southern Scotland. It later became a
Huh.
euphemism in the backcountry areas of the eastern United States. In 1736, Benjamin Franklin published the Drinker's Dictionary. And apparently he offered a 228 roundabout phases for being drunk. One of those phases is he'd kissed Black Betty.
Still, wow, that sounds racist.
I think he's referring to a liquor bottle in this case.
Oh,
So yeah, other sources give the meaning of Black Betty in the United States as a liquor bottle. So there is quite a bit of dispute here on what Black Betty means in this case. I think you had mentioned earlier, some people say that it refers to a whip that was used to beat prisoners. In
yeah,
the 19th
yes. The quote there, what you're referring to is in let's see, John A. and Alan Lomax's 1934 book says Black Betty is not another Frankie, which I'm not sure means, but it's hyperlinked there. So I'm gonna come back to that. But it says not another Frankie, nor yet a two-timing woman that a man can moan his blues about.
Okay.
She is the whip that was used in some of the southern prisons. What does Frankie mean? She is not another Frankie. Oh, it's referencing a song called Frankie and Johnny.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Well, either way, I'll put it this way: none of these possible, meanings of the term sound particularly positive, and most of them sound slightly, if not full on, racist, and
Yeah.
just products of a time that we don't speak that way anymore.
No.
Yeah, the version that this song, the Ram Jam, is based off of was from Leadbelly, who's a very legendary blues musician, one of the earliest like we're talking 1800s like blues folk singer.
Yeah.
And he had this a song called Black Betty, which is what Ram Jam is taking here. So I don't know how much. I'm guessing they're using the same lyrics, and the composition is just much different. But the
Yes.
basically the lyrics are, whoa, Black Betty, bam, lamb. She had a child. Black Betty had a child. The damn thing gone wild. She's always ready. She's so rock steady. So on the surface level, I think the TikTok audience is taking this as what is most likely, in my opinion, what we're talking about here, which is a black woman.
Right.
She's from Birmingham, way down in Alabama. She had a child. The
Hmm.
damn thing went wild. Whoa, Black Betty. And yeah, if you're interpreting the song that way, that's extremely racist. Even
Absolutely.
for a
Yeah.
band composed of nothing but white guys in 1977.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
However, I did find this Quora forum here, and someone asked a few years ago. They said, "Do you think the song Black Betty by Ram Jam is racist?" And the top answer was from a man named David Goldflies, who says,
Hmm.
I was there when we recorded Black Betty. I can't recall one single thread of racist views held by any band member that I worked or recorded with. At the time, the band was called Starstruck, which is true, and they were later renamed Ram Jam. We played every Wednesday night at the Boar's Head, a club in Oxford, Ohio. I had just gotten the gig on bass, and the band leader, Bill Bartlett of the Lemon Pipers fame, had a kick ass arrangement of Black Betty. We recorded it, and much to our surprise, it became a hit in the southwestern Ohio area. So, this man,
Wow.
who apparently was the bass player who originally played on the song, I don't know if he's the one on the recording,
Hmm.
but this man, yeah, David Goldflies, said that none of the band members had any racist views of any kind, and that the song was just a cool arrangement of an old blues song, and which is probably the case with just as with so many other bands, blues rock bands of the 60s and 70s. They didn't think twice about the songs that they were ripping off. They just had, heavy arrangements of old blues songs. So
Hmm.
that may be what's going on too. I don't think that there was any bad intentions among the band members who wrote the song, or who put out this arrangement. I think that they were innocent enough. They weren't trying to be harmful.
Yeah.
So looking at it through a 2024 lens, there's a lot of potential negativity to be.
Incredibly problematic. Yeah.
Yeah.
While you were talking there, I looked up who is David Goldflies. Turns out David Rook Goldflies is the former Allman Brothers Band bassist.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
He's on Cora. So he
He's on
played for the
Quora.
Allman Brothers, another band that I absolutely cannot stand.
You
Yeah,
don't
while
like
we're on
the
this,
Allman Brothers? I didn't
oh
know
dude,
that.
I
Oh.
can't. We got another album on the 1001 albums list was Allman
Yeah.
Brothers live at Fillmore East, and that is just an hour and a half of gobbledygook jam. I'm not a jam band fan.
Sure. Sure.
Typically, they're fun to watch live. Sometimes, you got a couple drinks in you, and there's a jam band on stage, and they're good. Maybe they crank out a dead tune. Okay, I can get behind it. I do not like listening to 20-minute guitar solos and just like I know they're all
Wow.
great. They're super
I was
competent.
just gonna say I almost put the Allman Brothers on the driving songs the other week. So like road trip songs.
Yeah. I can't
A
do
good
it.
time.
It
I
just
should
irritates me.
we should do an episode where we play music that we think the other person hates.
Ooh, all right. Let me go ahead and note that
Or just
on the recording here.
ones that we know you hate.
Okay.
I'll make a
Um
Steve Winwood Traffic Allman Brothers.
Steve Winwood. I never said, did I never say I hated Steve Winwood?
Yeah, we're at Mojo's in Tampa
Ah,
buying records, and I found that Winwood record, and you were like,
that's
"I fucking
right.
hate Winwood." I'm like, how do you hate Steve Winwood? You're like, "Dear Mr. Fan, shut up." No, what?
Ugh. Fucking That's when Nolan said to me, he said, "Look, I love Steve Winwood, and you're gonna love him too." No, I think this song is actually kind of it's cool. Like the arrangement is fine. It's cool.
It's
Um,
catchy, it's hooky. I love the
I
riff.
was I was extremely caught off guard by those like crazy cuts. Like it seems like,
Ooh,
you know, this was obviously recorded to tape.
this tape.
So this
Yeah.
was analog. It seemed like there was a hard stitch that was extremely audible. And like if you don't know what I'm talking about, like yeah, they used to record a physical tape and
Mm,
the producers or the engineer would have to cut that tape, you know, if there were multiple takes that got used.
hmm.
So to make it sound like the band was all playing at once, even though it was
Right.
different times. And that obviously happened here. I say obviously, maybe it was just a well-designed thing, but like it goes extreme, like you can tell it
Yeah.
sounds like it just goes right back to the beginning of the song after that first little verse.
Yeah. And it
And
sounds
I
like they
think that's what they
copied the
did.
first take
They
and
just copied the
reused
first take.
the
Yep.
take.
I think
Wow.
that's exactly what happened.
Sounds like
Um,
it.
and that's done in hundreds, thousands of
Yeah.
songs. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but
No,
it was just really obvious here, and it kind of took me out of the song a little bit. It was just very like abrasive to hear that. Um,
very much so. I do think it made the song a bit interesting because it's just
yeah.
like, what's next? Whoa.
Oh,
Oh.
start it over. Like
There we
if
go.
if I'd have popped that on my record player in '77, I would think the record player skipped backwards and
Yeah.
started
How
the
did it
song
do
over.
that?
Yeah. Um,
Man,
it
yeah.
was yeah, it's an interesting song. I'm interested to hear their next most popular song.
Me as
Keep Your
well.
Hands on the Wheel from the same album. Which as I said before, yeah, 10 and 2, baby. That is the safest way.
10 and 2.
What's up with these drivings? What's up with like the DMV just changing the rules on us every year? It's like, oh, that's no longer the safest. It's like, who are you?
Yeah,
Is it
isn't it
10 and
like
2? Is it 6
8
and
and
4?
10?
Is like what am I supposed? Yeah, it's like come on. Is it 12
I
and 6?
I thought
Drive like this.
for a moment there, I thought you were just stopping and saying, and by the way, wait, what's with the DMV?
What's with the DMV?
And it's
Yeah,
just that's
I'm
it.
working out my Seinfeld bits. Please,
Doing like,
let me know
the
your
airplane
feedback.
jokes.
Yeah.
What is it with airplanes? Like, I'm like, what is he doing?
What is it with these airplanes? You know, you go over and they don't even got peanuts anymore. Allergies. They give you some pretzels.
Allergies. Ha ha
Allergies.
ha
Everyone's
ha
got the
ha ha.
allergies.
Laugh track, laugh track, laugh track.
Said, can I get a glass of water? Like, what card do you want to use? I say it's water. Just get Spirit Airlines. You know what I'm saying? They don't
It's
charge you
at
for
the
water.
for a moment I thought it was like a commercial with Spirit Airlines. You're like Spirit Airlines.
Spirit Airlines.
Can I get some water? What are you at
Get some
Spirit?
water.
Oh my
What are
god.
you even doing? I paid $20 for this ticket. You can't give me a glass of water? Come on.
A lot of money.
Come on.
I want to hear Keep Your Hands on the Wheel.
On the wheel. All right. Here's Keep Your Hands on the Wheel by Rem Jam. Nope.
I'm cruising through life with no blinders on. I'm trying for the line between right and wrong. But there's always something shaking wherever I go. And I'm always saying yes when I should say no. I said, come here, sweet thing. Let me show you how it feels. She said, let go of me and keep your hands on the wheel. Keep your hands on the wheel. Keep your hands on the wheel. Keep your hands on the wheel, on the wheel. Oh, that's one thing I never understood. How can it be bad when it feels so good? How can I keep getting up time and again? How come I lose 20 when I only stole 10? I said, come here, sweet thing, let me show you how it feels. She said, let go of me and keep your hands on the wheel. Keep your hands on the wheel. I got to get a grip. Keep your hands on the wheel.
better
Keep your hands on the wheel. I can't help if I slip on the wheel.
Yeah, okay. So now I know kind of where School of Rock that maybe we was making straight A's song.
Yeah.
I think it's the same progression there, but
It
literally
was a
I'm
very typical classic rock song.
yeah.
Fit the mold pretty
If
well.
you want to be the teacher's pet.
Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, I think that they had something there is very typical. But it was sounding really, really good until the very
Mm.
first yelling woman impression. I'm assuming it's one of the band
Yeah.
members.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably the vocalist or I
That
don't
was
know, drummer,
bad.
something
I
like
I
that.
immediately like I was like, whoa,
Mm.
what am I listening to?
Yeah, can't say I was a fan of that. Another kind of jarring thing to throw in your song there. Uh, yeah, it didn't do anything for me. I
Mm,
will forget that in the next 10 minutes. I
I've
will forget
already
everything about the
forgotten.
song. Yep, I already forgot what it was called. Keep your hands on the wheel.
Hashtag
Um,
never forget.
and that is for 9/11. That's what the plane driver said. Like, oh shit, I slipped. Um,
9/11 jokes. Wow.
Oof. Uh, let's
You
see if
never
I can.
expect it.
You never expect it. Let's see if I can do two of them.
God damn. All right.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, so Ram
S-
Jam
eh,
is well deserving of the title one hit
yeah,
wonder.
yeah, yeah. I can't say I'm a big fan of these guys. Yeah, they were called the Lemon
How
Steppers.
dare you?
Or some of the band members came from a band called Lemon Steppers, and then they became Starstruck.
Hmm.
I, I, I don't know if I can say I'm a fan of that idea.
I like
Um,
Starstruck. I think
as
it's
a
a
band
fine
name,
name. Yeah.
better than Ram Jam.
Better than Ram Jam, better than all the other ones. I thought Starstruck, I was like, oh, I feel like I would remember that.
Here's a baldy move. Ram Jam had two studio albums. They recorded two studio albums. Then in 1990, they put out a very best of Ram Jam greatest hits album.
They put two, wait. They put a total of two records out.
Yeah,
Probably like around 12 songs back then. It was like 12 to 16. I feel like a lot of
sure.
songs.
Yeah.
And
So let's
so
say
greatest hits was just they just took one
let's
of
give them the
these.
benefit of the doubt and say they had 30 total recorded songs. There are 20 on this greatest hits album.
Here are the songs that actually sucked, and then the ones you liked.
All
I'd buy
music
it.
allmusic.com gave it a 4 out of 5. So I mean, high praise from All Music.
High praise from all music. Usually
Hmm.
it's not very good.
Yeah. Another case of and I've seen this so many times when we talk about these one hit wonders. Another case of a not original song being the hits. It's a technically
A
a
lot
cover
of
song.
covers,
Yeah.
yes.
Last week talking about the Taco
The
Man Randy
Taco
Savage.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Taco
same
Man
deal.
Randy Savage, Bonesaw's cousin.
Bone Sauce cousin, the Taco
Yeah.
Man Randy Savage. Oh shit! Now I want to use that as a title, but that was last week's title. The
Oh
Taco
yeah.
Man. Oh, that's so much
You
better.
did. Yeah. Taco Man
Uh,
Randy. You know what? We could make it another taco, and instead of using taco, I'll use an actual Taco Bell taco.
Perfect.
Doritos Locos.
Doritos Loco, an actual taco, the Doritos Locos taco.
There's only one kind.
I haven't had Doritos in a minute.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I got them 2 weeks ago. Devoured it in a day and a half. I went a little crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't buy a
It
bag of
wasn't a
Doritos with the intention
snack
of
bag.
folding them up again. I know. I'm
I get about 3 to 4 folds
son,
for a bag of Doritos.
son,
Uh,
you underestimate my abilities here.
no, I don't. I know that this is. I'm saying. I know you can do it. I mean, my one beer is your four, so we know how that. It's food proportion wise. I'm sure that makes sense, unless it's actually Taco Bell, because I destroy you nowadays. So
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not gonna spend $30 at Taco Bell. What used to cost me $8.50 costs $30 at Taco Bell now, and I'm not. I
30,
refuse to pay that.
20. Yeah, you're right. You're
Even
right.
so,
I
that's
need to
crazy.
grow up.
Crazy. Grow up, man. Grow up. Graduate to Chipotle. Be a real man. Nah, there's nothing wrong with eating Taco. I would eat the shit out of some Taco Bell right now. No, I used to my diet used to consist of a bag of Pop Tarts, chocolate flavored Pop Tarts in the morning, untoasted, just rip them right out of
You're
the
an
foil.
animal for that.
Big glass of milk, tall
mm,
glass of milk with it,
some powdery edges. You
some
love that.
powder. Oh yeah, dude, I loved those
You
little
just
powdery edges.
like
Oh,
the
I would
powdery
just
edges.
no, I would just like take a nibble of the corners, just like to savor it, and then I would kind of bite around the main sauce area,
Save it for later.
and then just like once it was like kind of that like
Weird.
this shape was like, like one of those. I just took a bite of the tippy top.
So you made a
Yeah,
dick and bit the head.
that's exactly right. That was my breakfast, and then I would do typically on the weekends it was a
Can I guess?
Totino's. Yeah, please.
Oh man, you were okay. So Totino's pizza. I was gonna say
Yeah.
chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely part. Yeah, throw some Tyson. If I was impatient, if I was patient, like if I was getting a classy lunch,
Mm.
those chicken nuggets would go in the oven. Uh,
Mm.
and it make it even classier. Halfway through cooking time, you flip them over,
Oh yeah. Little
even both sides. Now,
crispy boys.
9 times out of 10, I was not a patient boy.
Mm.
They went in the microwave, and I nuked them for about a minute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but I did the party pizzas.
So
I
you
did
under you you said I nuked your chicken nuggets for about a minute. I'm like, so you undercooked some chicken.
that with a side of family-sized Cool Ranch Doritos. And
Family size.
son, I'm telling you, I
Oh
don't play
man.
around. I don't eat that shit anymore. I'm 33 years old. I would be dead if I still ate like that. But as a 12-year-old boy, that was
Nah,
all I enjoyed. That was
you're
all I
listening
consumed.
to like you're a 12-year-old boy and you just hit the record player and then it's Don't Stop Me Now from Queen.
It's like, oh, man, that was such a good time.
Having a ball. It's just a fast cut of you like banging some fucking. It's a thing of mashed potatoes next to it.
All I ate at Thanksgiving, dude. Fucking mashed potatoes and gravy.
So good though.
My dad would be like, "You're eating some green beans." I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
You're gonna have turkey. You're gonna eat turkey. No, I don't want turkey. I just
You
want
know what
mashed
he'd
potatoes.
say? He'd say, "All right,
Yeah, all right.
I
I
get
used to
that."
sit, dude. We used to have steak for dinner. My mom would cook steak.
M-
I would
Folks,
chew it
Matt
like it was
told me
gum.
this when I think I was 18 and I had the same reaction. It's a say what did you do when steak was on the table?
If and there's a big if I ate it because I would have to sit at the table until I ate at least some of it, I would chew it in my mouth and not swallow it and just chew it and chew it and chew it like it was gum until it eventually, after 5, 10 minutes, dissolved and it was gone because I refused to swallow steak. Like well cooked, medium well steak. There's no blood. It's not bad. It's flavorful. It's steak for God's sake. And I used to just treat it like it
You
was like
just
a bug, like a cockroach. Like,
wow, because
God,
you
I don't want to eat this.
what was your preferred thing to eat? Like if you didn't want steak, what did you really want?
Pizza and chicken nuggets.
Pizza and chicken nuggets.
Pizza and chicken nuggets.
Where
Yeah.
was your favorite nugget from?
Ooh, like what establishment?
Yeah, yeah. Where would you get your best nuggets?
Ooh,
Were you a
that's
McDonald's
a good
boy?
question.
Burger King boy?
When I was younger, Burger King for sure had the
Oh.
better nuggets. But as I matured into my
Mm,
my teenage years, it was the classier establishments. It wasn't a McDonald's or a
sure.
BK. It was a Chick-fil-A,
A
uh,
Chick-fil-A.
or a Buffalo Wild Wings. I would graduate
Oh,
to some sauce
some
every now and then.
sauce.
Yeah.
Some sauce in the oh man. Then there's Zaxby's. You said Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, oh, I haven't had a Zaxby's
Mhm.
situation in a while. Now I'm thinking of fried chicken. I might go get some nuggets after this.
It's not a bad idea.
What have you done to me? We haven't even
Uh,
gotten to the bass songs. Where are we?
Yeah, we gotta be mindful of time.
Okay, so what do you want? 5 minutes per? I bet you couldn't do it in 5 minutes.
No, dude, I'll talk the next 3 hours about bass. Yeah,
Christ.
so talk a little bit about bass lines. This is fun, man. I mean, I could, like I said, I could talk about this all day. I love the bass. I love songs that make the bass a priority, make it something important. I love bands that have a known bass player, and this is, so many classic rock bands have famous bass players. You got your Rush, you got your
Right.
Zeppelins, I mean, Beatles.
The Who.
Name a classic rock band. Yeah, they all
Yeah.
have a notable famous bass player for a good reason. And this is going to sound very boomer-esque of me, but I think that over time, generally speaking, in popular music, bass got less and less important. I mean, so did guitar. Or
Sure.
any classic instrument, at least the
That's
production
a
of it.
good
But
point.
um, I did try to bring quite a few modern songs or more modern. I think, in fact, everyone that I'm going to talk about, maybe not. Uh, but all that to say, yeah, my favorite thing, I think, like bass was not the first instrument I learned how to play, but I have a very fond memory tied to like the reason that I love bass so much.
Mm.
I was a freshman in high school, and I played a little bit of guitar. I mainly played saxophone. That was like my instrument. But I was learning how to play guitar, and I remember a group of dudes at school who had very similar music tastes to me because I was just getting into like all those bands like Sabbath and
Mm.
Zeppelin and like all the bands that I would love for the next few years. And these guys were like super fans of all those guys, and they were in a band, and I knew this, and I knew that they were going to play like the high school talent show, and so
Oh, I know what this is about.
yeah. Yeah. So, I decided to, or they reached out to me actually because one of them was in band class with me. He's like, "Hey, you play guitar, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "Well, we need a bass player for this show we're doing, this talent show." And I was like, I don't really play bass, and I don't have a bass because I didn't." He's like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll help you out, we'll hook you up." Um, he probably didn't say hook you up, but you get it. Uh, they bought me a Squire 5-string bass. They pitched in to buy me a bass guitar, my very
Oh,
first bass,
wow.
so I could play bass for them for the show. And I learned the two songs that they were going to play, which were both Black Sabbath songs. It was War Pigs and Iron Man. Um, and so we were, the whole idea was like, guitar, vocals, drums, and bass. And we were going to go
Mm.
out there in the middle of the gymnasium and play Sabbath for everybody. And then the lead singer wanted to smash a guitar on the gym floor,
Oh,
and he asked the gym teacher, and the
I
gym teacher
remember
said, "You're
this.
not going to do that." Yeah, so we had to put down a tarp, uh, but we were able to smash an acoustic guitar. But anyways, all that to say, we won second place at the talent show, but it was a very fond memory. Like learning those
That's
songs.
wonderful.
Sabbath was the first thing I learned on bass, which I like saying that because Geezer Butler is God, or Satan. But
Both.
like yeah, both. I grew very fond of the bass, and I was like it just felt like that kind of instrument that's, and it still feels this way to me. It's like when you're playing with a group of people, or people need help. It's like everyone always needs a bass player, right? Because everybody plays guitar, everybody plays
Mhm.
drums, everybody wants to sing. Not everybody wants to be the bass player because bass
Right.
player is a thankless job for the most part. It's
Right.
just
Your
person.
backbone.
Yeah, you're often in the background. You don't get all the attention. I loved that, especially as an introverted teenager. I was like, yes, stick me in the back. As
Yep.
long as I'm up there being a part of it, that's what matters to me. And I still kind of feel that way, like especially in bands. I'm like,
Mm.
I don't need to be the center of attention. I just want to like make something cool. But
Yeah.
as I grew older, I really grew to love, obviously, like the famous bass lines, which we'll, talk about some of those, but like ones that like are not necessarily the most technically proficient or like, wow, like they catch your ear, like listen to that bass player, but the ones that are like holding down the song similar to like how drums would do, or even better, ones that are moving the song along
Mm.
that are still staying in that background to where like you might not hear it the first time, or like it's not the center of attention, but it is the thing that is like it is the melody of the song, whereas like the guitar might just be holding down like a chord progression or whatever. The bass is moving, and it's doing good things to help progress the song. Those are the kinds
Mm.
of bass lines I really like.
Yeah.
So and I try to write that way. So I wanted to bring a few of my favorite examples of really just like bass playing that has helped me like defines the style that I play in. And yeah, like Nolan said, bass is kind of my main instrument, I guess. Like if I had to pick one, it's the one I get the most enjoyment out of playing, and being creative with. But uh
Mm.
I think the first baseline that I want to talk about is it's iconic for so many reasons, but mainly for the reason I just talked about, where like it's not the forefront of the song, but it is moving the song along more than anything else. The song is called "Is This It?" by the Strokes, and it's their debut album. This is the first track off their debut album.
Can't you see I'm trying? I don't even like it. I just like to get to your apartment. Now I'm staying there just for a while. I can't think 'cause I'm just way too tired. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Said they'd give you anything you ever wanted. When they lied, I knew it was just stable children trying hard not to realize I was sitting right behind her. Dear, can't you see?
So solid.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite bass lines. I think it's one of the most iconic bass lines, and it's not often talked about because, like, you put it up against Another One Bites the Dust, or
Sure. Yeah. But it's just a
yeah,
very good, that's really well crafted.
it's pleasant, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I like pleasant bass lines in songs. I
Yeah.
like positive songs in general. Songs that are in a major key like this one, that are
Sure.
groovy. There's like usually not much weight to it, and it's just it's a super groovy bass line, and I think it holds down that verse so well, and it keeps it moving because if you notice the guitar is just doing kind of that very two note, like still playing a
Yeah.
melody, but it's very structured, and the bass is kind of the one that's letting loose a little bit there. Really like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's good.
What you got?
Oh, I get to go next?
If you'd like to.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess to start it, I don't know. I don't know how to pick which one. I guess I'll just go with what I thought of first. But
Yeah.
I think a good bass lines. It's really hard for me not to like it was just I don't know how I wouldn't go to this song every single time. But the bands of Montreal, we've talked about them a ton. I know of Montreal exists because Matt Rawls also exists. So, but this is probably arguably their most popular, if not one of the two most popular songs that they have. It's called Gronlandic Edit, and it just tickles your brain. Like it scratches an itch, and you just want to keep listening to it. And throughout is just this driving part of the song. And so, like, opposite of what you were saying, sometimes the bass is just there for a tool, drives the song, does its job, and it's amazing. And other times it's the focal point of the song, and this is one of those. This is Gronlandic Edit.
Good imaginations.
Just realized.
You wear your Montreal shoes.
I am satisfied hiding in our friend's apartment, only leaving once a day to buy some groceries. Daylight, I'm so absent-minded. Nighttime, meeting new anxieties. So am I erasing myself? Hope I'm not erasing myself. I guess it would be nice to give my heart to a god, but which one? Which one do I choose? Ah, the church is filled with losers, psycho or confused. I just want to hold the divine in my
It's classic.
So much fun.
Man,
It's a great time.
if you're listening to this podcast and that was your first time hearing that song, I hope you enjoyed it. I think yeah, this was the first of Montreal song I ever heard.
Mm.
And I never looked back from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all in
Uh,
all, they're probably my favorite bands. I brought another example of an of Montreal song to
oh.
specifically talk about bass. I could have picked so many. I think
Oh.
Kevin
Okay.
Barnes, who's the lead singer songwriter, like
He's up
basically
Montreal.
is of Montreal,
Yeah.
writes all of the music, all the instrumentation, played all the bass on the records. And they're so the band has I think 17 or 18 studio albums at this point,
Mm.
since the late 90s. Yeah, that song Garden Atlantic Edit is off probably the most popular album, Hissing Fauna or You the Destroyer. And there's 6 bass lines on that album that are just kind of that same, like just so funky and groovy and
Hmm.
almost disco-y. And I would play a ton of those, and I thought so much. I was like, I knew I wanted to bring one of them because yeah, the bass playing that Kevin does is probably my main inspiration these days for like writing a bass line in my songs, because I
Wow.
never want them to stay still. I don't want the bass to just hold down the roots, which is the
Sure.
typical job of a bass in a song is to hold down the low end.
Right. Right.
But I feel like Of Montreal refuses to do that in really any of their material, and the same goes with like chord structures, right? Like, that song is a little bit stagnant. It's basically just the E the whole time, but in a lot of Montreal songs, the chord progression is wild. The keys change out of nowhere, and just like the chords that they manage to find are just insane.
Yeah,
Um,
there's major minor action and like I
yeah,
feel like it's just constantly, oh, here was the line of the song and it's like, I'm gonna put this
yeah,
one out here. I'm gonna put
yeah.
this one out here.
Yeah, exactly. But one that I thought of, it's a little lesser known, but I really enjoy this bass line. I think I like the tone of it a lot because it just sounds like cool. Like it's kind of like an edgy sort of tone, but
Hmm.
this is another very like disco centric song, and that's the other thing about this band is like they kind of span so many different genres. Like they've put out like just straight rock albums, like
Hmm.
folky albums, more like whimsical. They've put out like vaporwave records. And then they kind of stick to like this mainstream like indie pop sound too, on a lot of their middle year stuff. So I want to play one song. It's called "Our Love Is Senile," and it is the opening track off the album "Daughter of Cloud."
So now she's turning a corner, wants to leave me again. Though it's sad, I really should warn her. You can only break up so many times before losing us to absurdity without becoming farcical. She said, how can we continue if you're telling the truth and I still don't believe you?
Sounds like you.
What do you
Like
mean?
your style, like the way that when you play, like the stops that you choose to
Mm.
take and like when you change chords or do all that, it just really sounds like you played that bass line.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I rip it off too much, but honestly, like
No, I
it's
think it's
just
great.
like this is the kind of thing that really makes music interesting to me is not knowing what a song is going to do next or where it's going to go. And that's
Mhm.
more about like chord structure and song structure in general. But just like throwing an interesting and melodic bass line on top of that like controlled chaos is just super interesting to me. And I love hearing it. And there's so many like there's so many songs in this band's discography, but there's like so many songs that like I've heard uh a bunch, but I still don't know it completely, like I don't have it all memorized. And so every time I go to listen to it, it's like it's still kind of new. It's like a new, like there's always something new to hear because there's so much going on in like what's kind of a pretty simple, easy to follow song. Like this
Yeah.
isn't an overly complicated song, but I don't know, I always get something new out of it every time, and it's fun to like sit there and try to like learn those songs because like it's moving so fast and you're like, well,
Yeah.
wait a minute, hang on, I just got part A and now we're on like part H, like
Right.
hang on. But it sounds
Yeah.
good. I love it personally.
Yeah. I think it
um
fits the song perfectly. It's very
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got another one to
I
share with
do.
us?
I have another one. So this one, it's probably my favorite bass line. It's one of the very few that I've ever gone out of my way to learn how to play
Oh,
myself. And the story behind it also is just very fun. So I'll talk about the story behind it, but the song is Long View and the band is Green Day. And here it is.
I'll sit around and watch the tube, but nothing's on. I change the channels for an hour or two. Twiddle my thumbs just for a bit. I'm sick of all the same old shit. In the house with unlocked doors, and I'm fucking lazy. Bite my lip and close my eyes. Take me away to paradise. I'm so damn bored, I'm gonna wear bright and I smell like shit.
Yeah. God, I think that's
yeah.
so creative.
Mhm.
Of course, it's just one big, walk down with some fun accents. But even
Mhm.
after the chorus there, like, how do you
Yeah,
not just revert back to the
go back to it.
original
Yeah, it
thing?
changes
But
up.
he makes it better. Like, I don't know. This is the bassist is Mike Dirnt. And as I've heard the story told throughout the years, I've heard it told in the American Idiot days. I remember watching interviews with them, and then I've heard it as recently as I think this month. I've seen it on like YouTube. Green Day's releasing another record, but I guess they were all high out of their minds uh, recording Dookie, and I think they had just reached a wall, and one of the like they were taking a break or something, and Mike just was fiddling around. He says, I'm pretty sure he says he doesn't remember writing it,
Mm.
but he begins to play this riff and just sort of follows it to the next part and the next
Mhm.
part. Next thing you know, Billy Joe is like you need to record that right now. And so like somebody just turned it on. I guess he was already plugged in, and that's how
Nice.
it happened. I guess, can you imagine waking up and hearing that? Like,
Yeah, there's a similar story with
yeah.
the Rolling Stones. Keith Richards,
Mm.
who has claimed in many times over the years that he doesn't remember writing the riff to "Can't Get No Satisfaction."
Wow.
Yeah, that he just woke up one day and he like I guess he recorded it, and he woke up after being like super drunk in the
Wow.
studio, and he popped on his headphones and that was what was on. And he was like, I guess I did this, but I have no memory of it. So they just used
Wow.
that as a take, and it was one of the most iconic guitarists of all time.
Yeah, it's either they did it or the riff fairy came in the
The
middle of the
riff.
night and pressed play and was like, I'm gonna mess with this motherfucker. Then they go on to get famous. Riff Fairy's mad, tried to ruin your life.
That's
What
what it.
happens,
That, I
guys?
think that's what it
Watch
was.
out for the Riff Fairy. It's on Bluey. Kids, don't watch. Just kidding. Watch Bluey all the time. I don't give a fuck. It's a great show.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you have next on your old list there?
I wanted to throw it back a little bit.
Hmm.
I mean, I have to give a little bit of attention to, you know, so I mean, like the technical stuff, right? So
Yes.
I got two more examples, but one is just something
Squeeze them together. You get both of the
just gotta
next two.
squeeze them together. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Stevie Wonder and his
Oh, yes.
marvelous music. So if you didn't know this, Stevie Wonder actually played a lot of the instruments on his records. So the album I'm going to talk about is "Songs in the Key of Life," and the song is "Sir Duke," probably his most famous song. I don't know. He played a lot of the instruments on here.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. It maybe I don't know. Does he have a more popular
Does
song?
he have another song that's popular?
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I would put Superstition up there. I feel like more people have. I don't know.
Nah, no one
I
knows
know
that song.
this. No one will know this.
No one knows that song.
Oh, that song.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But no, this is so he did not play bass on this song. A studio musician named Nathan Watts played bass on this track. But he was the composer. Stevie Wonder was the composer of this track, of this melody, whatever you want to call it. I think this is just a perfect example of like technical proficiency on bass while still keeping it like, holding it down, being soulful, being good, being just like groovy as hell.
Mm.
Let's listen to Sir Duke. We all know it.
Music is a world within itself, with a language we all understand, with an equal opportunity for all to sing, dance, and clap their hands. Well, just because a record has a groove, don't make it in the groove. But you can tell right away left to A when the people start to move. They can feel it all over. They can feel it all over fever. They can feel it all over. They can feel it all over fever. Go!
I mean, yeah. I mean, what more do you want? It's so good. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
What more do you
honestly.
want?
What more do you
Shot
want?
Hunter.
Yeah,
Shot
the
Hunter.
horns and the bass there at the end of that chorus coming back. That post chorus or pre-verse,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it. Just like that is just top tier.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're consistent with it too. You said you like a positive bass line.
Yeah,
Like
and
something
it's
that's
extremely
happy.
positive.
Yeah.
Another major key song. It's happy. It's good
It's
vibes,
happy.
good feelings. Yeah, I got
It's
one
a pop
more.
sandwich.
It's a pop sandwich. I got one more. Like I said, I could have had 1,000 on here. I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. I mean, good Lord, dude. I'm not even kidding. Like, please go listen. I mean, go listen to Motown, period. But like, listen to some of the Motown, like anything by James
I
Jamerson.
didn't expect it. I didn't
Like,
expect you to say that.
yeah, any Marvin Gaye stuff. Like,
Oh, yes.
there's so many good bass lines to be found there.
Mhm.
One of my all-time favorite bass lines I want to talk about next is by one of my all-time favorite bands. And it's another example of a happy, good old. It's just a happy bass line. I think it fills you with joy, but it's like it's so unexpected in a song like this. At least, I think the first time I heard it, I was so like not expect. You kind of just expect, like a simple bass line,
Right.
or something that's not doesn't do this. And maybe this is just me, but the song is "Ramble On" by Led Zeppelin. It's one of their best songs
Had to be.
ever, and I think it's one of the best bass lines, if not the best, just rock bass line of all time. So I'll play a little bit of that for you.
Leaves are falling all around. Time I was on my way. obliged. It's such a pleasant stay. But now it's time for me to go. The autumn moonlight's my way. But now I smell the rain, and with it pain, and it's heading my way. Sometimes
Also that
I grow
guitar.
so tired. But I know about one thing I got to do. I ramble on. Now the time is now. Sing my song. I'm going round the world. I gotta find my girl on my way. I've been this way 10 years till the day. Ramble on. Find the queen of all my dreams.
And everything's doing something unexpected in that song. And when the drums kick in, it's like, yeah, you get the little pitter patter, and then in the chorus you got the drums kick in, and then they do this like weird offbeat sort of thing, but it's still punchy and drivey, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course that's what that's doing, because it's a way better song that way.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And I just want to point out before I forget that throughout the beginning of the song, it does sound like a bald man just tapping
Just
on his head.
Tap it on his head.
Just tapping on his head there.
Tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it,
It
tap.
was Tim
I'm
the
still
Tap
not
Man.
exactly sure what that is. I
I
think
think-
it might just be a mic on like Bonham's lap or something, Like he's just
Wow.
tapping his lap. And this is
It's a
complete
microphone that's
speculation.
just sitting in his crotch.
Yeah, it might be.
It's going for a ride. Where are
Yeah.
we going? Nobody knows.
It doesn't sound like a drum. It doesn't sound like he's actually playing. I mean, it's definitely hands on something.
Now I can picture the pant leg
Yeah,
happening.
it's like just
Yeah.
a pair of Levi's.
Pair of Levi's.
Patting on a pair of Levi's. I'm sure the answer is out there somewhere. I haven't read all the books, but studio tricks.
Yeah, they take the old Levi jeans trick.
The old Levi jeans. I do know this weird piece of trivia that on several of the tracks on Zeppelin's third and fourth albums, you can hear a squeak in a lot of the tracks. And for a long time, there was a mystery as to what those squeaks were. It's Bonham's kick drum that was
the
not
little-
greased up very well. It was a very like loose, not well crafted kick drum head. So
I thought you
the
were
pedal.
gonna fuck with everyone and say, now the little piece of trivia for you. Did you know that you can hear the devil's voice every time you play the record?
Well, that's also true.
That's also true.
So put your kids to sleep.
You did the same thing with Stevie Wonder. You were like, I don't know if you know this about Stevie Wonder. In my mind, I started smiling. If you go back and watch the video, I started smiling because I thought you were going to say, I don't know if you know this about Stevie Wonder, but he was blind.
He was blind. He still is. Little fun track. He never did. He never did see.
He never did, like most, get their sight back.
Yeah. They learned how to play the piano blind.
Yeah. So I've only got one other one. I don't have two to combine. I truly couldn't think about very many more bassists, but Rush is enough. This is Rush, and I don't know. We were talking about it beforehand. You could pick any point in the song and hit play, and you'll get some ridiculous shredding Geddy Lee, his fingers are on fire situation. So
That's pretty
yeah,
much
this
it.
is I'm sorry, I said XYZ, I think. This is YYZ. I don't know what I said. YYZ. If I said XYZ, I'm gonna be really mad at myself. Also a little stony baloney right now, but that's fine. It's a X wow. Just play the
Here's
song.
XYZ by the Rush Boys and Mr. Tom Sawyer
This is Stroke by
by
Juicy Juice.
Juice.
I even did that backwards. Woo.
Yeah, save the best for last.
Yeah.
You gotta, right?
I mean, I don't know if that was the but you had some good ones too.
No, dude. I
Rush
mean,
is
Geddy
it?
Lee, yeah, Rush is it. You're not gonna get better bass playing than on a Rush record.
Yeah, I feel like there are people still out there that treat the bass like Geddy Lee does. But I mean, look back at footage of Rush, you can see the way that he even plays it. It's like for maximum movement of
Mhm.
fingers. Like it is adjusted so his back's not comfortable. Doesn't have to be his arms comfortable. Can he move up and down the fretboard and do everything he needs to do at the highest level?
Yep.
That's what it looks like right there. He kind of looks like a praying mantis. Just he's like, I'm gonna play the shit out of this thing right now. And like his arm doesn't even hardly move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Rush,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah. I mean, you watch videos of like Neil Peart playing, and it's the same thing, right? He was always like
Mm,
so. He almost looks stiff, but it's just
yeah,
he's so
calculated.
calculated in his playing,
Yeah, man.
and that only got better over the years. Yeah, man. God, Rush. What do you want?
What do you want, folks?
What do you want? What do you want? Some potato chips?
We've
What do you want? A whole
a
bag of
whole bag of
Doritos?
Dorito.
You want a whole bag?
That's it. That's it,
Family
folks.
size?
Family size bag of Doritos.
Doritos.
Doritos. You can go to Dominios, grab yourself a pizza, get your Doritos, crush them on top.
Oh,
Doesn't that
oh,
sound good?
God.
Doesn't that sound amazing?
No, sounds awful, but I would eat it. I would eat it and
And
feel,
I would eat it.
I would feel ashamed.
You know what? I love Doritos and I love pizza, and I will not let these go to waste.
I can't,
Mm,
I can't justify a meal like that anymore because like it never, it never does any good for me.
no,
It
it
doesn't make
does.
me
You're
feel
right.
good. Doesn't make me feel full. I can tell you that much.
Folks, this is wisdom right here. This is years of eating ketchup on 2 slices of white bread and
Two
crushed up
slices.
barbecue Lay's kettle cooked Dorito chips.
Whoa,
Chips.
whoa, kettle cooked? Hang on.
Kettle cooked.
Oh,
Well, okay, not kettle cooked, just Lay's barbecue. We
yeah.
didn't have that kind of money.
We had the fall apart in your mouth and turn all chewy in your teeth kind. We didn't have the kettle cooked. You know what
Hmm.
I'm talking about, right? Like on
Oh,
a basic traditional Lay's potato chip, how it
yes.
just feels like most
Just
of it stays in your mouth.
you're eating chalk, is what you're.
That's basically what it is. I mean, you're eating a
Take
crap ton of chemicals, I can tell you
take a
that.
bite. Don't breathe for the next 10 to 15 seconds. And you're fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not judging these foods. I eat chips like a motherfucker. Okay, I'm not saying that
I just want to
I'm
eat more
too
right
high and
now.
mighty for chips. Yeah, yeah.
Oof.
Crushed up nacho cheese on a pepperoni banana pepper, that garlic crust.
My.
I tell you,
That
that
feta cheese, man.
that would go down smooth right now.
Buddy, that's like the best. That's one of the best pizza combos right there. Banana
Which one?
peppers.
Oh, it's feta cheese, banana peppers and feta cheese.
Well, you said, I think, what? Banana peppers, feta cheese, and pepperoni.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
That
yeah,
sounds fantastic.
yeah.
That, some sausage.
A little bit of sausage on my pizza, please.
Folks, that is it. That is the episode. It was a
That's
lot
the
of
episode.
fun. I had a
We
great time.
dedicate an entire episode to talking about pizza.
I'd love that.
You do a pizza podcast?
Let's do a pizza podcast.
Pizza podcast. We'll call it Pizza My Podcast.
Pizza, my pop. That's actually not a bad title.
It's not bad. I mean, that's right off the cuff.
You know how many
We'll
episodes
workshop
we'd
it.
get? We'll get like 2.5.
We'll get to it. We'll just give up halfway through the third one. Like, what else you want to talk about?
We got it. Sometimes you got to give up, like that guy at church, the living for a city fella. He's like, man,
That's all I'm doing.
that's all I'm doing. I'm out of
Uh,
here.
yeah, thanks for stopping by. Stay classy, San Diego. We appreciate you guys listening. This
Mhm.
is a lot of fun every week. Boy, I'm tired, and all I can think about is chips right now.
All I can think about is chips, a little bit of Dead
Chips and
by
pizza.
Daylight, and some pizza. Yeah,
Oh, jeepers creepers.
it's not gonna happen.
All right. Well, I thank
Yeah.
you again.
Yes, thank you
What are we talking
all.
about next week?
Oh,
What's
we
next week?
didn't determine.
We didn't even figure it out.
Oh man, we're gonna leave it. This is gonna be up to chance, folks.
All right. It's going to be as much of a surprise to you as it is to us.
Fantastic.
We'll workshop it. We'll do it. We'll do it day of. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
All right. What do you want to leave them on? A little potato chips?
Hey, give us some potato chips by Randy Orton in the WWE.
It's Slim Gaillard. It's not Randy Orton or Randy Savage. How come there's so many wrestlers named Randy?
I don't know.
Do you think that's like
This
by
is-
design? Like, hey, we want you to get real Randy in there
No,
with him.
this is the no, this is the problem. One of these days, add it to the list of problems that we have.
What?
Randy's.
There's too many wrestlers named
Too
Randy?
many no, just too many Randys in the world.
There's
It's time
too
to
many
go.
Randys?
It's time to go.
Where are they gonna go?
Just
gonna
when you
kill
were
'em
thinking, oh, I thought this was America, you're in jail.
for being named Randy?
That's right. That's right.
What's wrong with the name Randy?
I don't know. Randy's a fine name. Randy Johnson once killed a bird. You
He
remember that?
sure did, yeah.
He threw a pitch and it went boom. Shit blew
Randy
right
Savage killed a man.
up.
No, he didn't. He was a nice guy. He was a good
Macho
guy.
Man Randy Savage was Bonesaw in Spider-Man.
Yes. It's a great interview out there. It's from like the 90s. This guy's interviewing Macho Man. He's like, does Macho Man ever cry? And he's like, oh, yeah, brother. I'll tell you what. Macho Man, he shows real emotion. He cries. I cry. And I'll cry again before the day's done. he's, he's like, a real man is always showing his feelings. Always emotional. I'm like, all right, good for you,
I love
Macho
that.
Man.
Good job, Macho Man.
But he's still got the Macho Man persona. Like he never drops that. He's just like,
brother.
oh yeah, oh yeah, Macho Man cries. Yeah, he lets out his real emotion.
It's pretty good. Oh, the Macho Man do cry.
All right, here's potato chips. It's
Thanks for listening.
by Macho Man Randy Savage.
Macho Man, Randy Orton, Savage Man.
Potato chips, how my mouth just drip. Potato chips, how my mouth just drip. Crunch, crunch, I don't want no lunch. All I want is potato chips. Potato chips, how my mouth just drip. Potato chips, how my mouth just drip. Crunch, crunch, I don't want no lunch. All I want is potato chips. No matter where it is, you'll always find a bag around.
There's always a
Be it in a
bag.
bar, a picnic, even a baseball ground. Potato chips, how my mouth does drip. Potato chips, oh, drip, drip, drip. Crunch, crunch, I don't want no lunch. All I want is potato chips.
Oh man.